I am limited, you are limited, we all are limited by some or the other limitations. But he is not limited by anybody's limitation, and I guess I should limit saying limitation anymore. On that note, hey everyone, welcome back. It's Saturday evening. I hope you all are doing very well in your life. I, Danya, welcome you all again to another episode of our series 40 Days of Relationship. Okay, let's not limit ourselves by any more limitations or weaknesses in our life, and let's try to fall in love with our weaknesses. Okay, so how? Now Bible says we don't empower him, he empowers us. We all are like pot of clay, simple, ordinary, breakable, fragile pot of clay. This pot of clay turns into pot of gold when he works through us, when we allow him, permit him to work through us. That is when he empowers us, and this can happen only and only when we give him the permission. How? Till the time we provide excuses, we live in denial, that I don't have any shortcomings, I don't have any weaknesses or limitations in my life. This state of denial, actually, it stops him to work through us. When we come out of that state of denial, when we accept, when we admit our shortcomings, we are giving the permission, we are giving our readiness, to him, that yes, I am ready to accept, I am ready to change, I am ready to mold, I am ready so that you can work into me, you can work through me, you can empower me, right? Now, before getting into the steps that how God is going to work through us, it's very imperative for us to understand what are the limitations or weaknesses which have been discussed in this book. There could be many more categories, but I'll stick to these three sorts of limitations. Okay. So there are physical limitations or weaknesses, there are emotional weaknesses or limitations, and lastly intellectual limitations. Now let me tell you, we are not all Stephen Hawking or Einsteins, we are not born geniuses. Even they had some sort of physical limitation or emotional limitation. So God is not expecting us to be intellectually genius, no. So don't consider that you have to be genius, you have to be super perfect. So some of the people consider their low intellect, what they think in their mind, as some sort of intellectual limitation. Then there could be emotional limitations, some sort of depression, trauma, some hereditary despondency, or some sort of past memory which may cause hurt in you. That could be emotional limitation bothering you. Then the last, physical limitation, any sort of chronic illness, disease, any handicapness in the body, so that could be physical limitation. So these are the three categories of limitations which we think in our mind are weaknesses to us. Now let's see how God works through three different categories, helping us to fall in love with our weaknesses. First, that is, admit your weakness. Okay, let me read something to you. We are human beings. We are supposed to make mistakes. Making mistake is not a sin or a crime, but a sign that at least we are trying. When we accept our mistake, our weaknesses, then only God empowers us to learn from those mistakes and give us the required strength to move ahead in life. Very true. The point or the time when we live in the state of denial that I don't have any weakness, shortcoming, limitations, till that point God will never work through us. We have to surrender to him, admitting that yes, I made a mistake. We are born to make mistakes, we are not God. That is the only thing which differentiates us from him. He never make mistakes, but we are born to make mistakes, we are supposed to make mistakes. But it doesn't mean that I am making a mistake, I have done a fault, so I've committed a crime or engaged into a sin. No, at least I am trying, at least I am working. And a person who works, a person who tries, is only the one who is going to make mistakes. So keep on trying, keep on making mistakes, accept those weaknesses, accept those mistakes, and let him have the chance, the opportunity then to work through you, to empower you, to give you the required strength so that you can accept your mistake and move ahead in life. You can correct that mistake of yours so that you can learn a lesson and move ahead in life from that mistake. Okay, the second point is Be content or have contentment in your weakness. Now your contentment is actually expression of faith. Otherwise, who will be content, happy and satisfied with the weakness? We all want to, come out of our weaknesses. We all want to work upon our strength. But here contentment is actually the expression of faith, that yes God, I know that you love me and I love you, and that's the only reason you have given this weakness as a gift to me, so that I can remind myself on daily basis that I have so and so weakness. Because of that, I am dependent upon you. You are my savior. I am not independent. I have completely surrendered this body, this self to you. Now you have to come for my protection. Think, a child who's self-sufficient, who's very strong, who can manage everything. Will mother think about that child? The mother is going to think about the weak child, whether he has had his food, how he's doing in his life, how I can help her. Mother will never be concerned about the strong, sufficient or self-sufficient child in life. Similarly, God thinks about his weak children, the children who will require his care and concern and affection and help. So too much independence, too much self-sufficiency, it kills our bond with God and his people. God always preaches about community. I help you, you help me. This feeling of community dies when we are too much independent in our life. For example, in COVID, we were dependent upon Corona warriors to help us, to serve us, to give us grocery, medicines and everything. And they were dependent upon us to reward them during those times of distress and disease and discomfort. So this feeling of community dies when we are too much independent, and God never favors it. Okay, being vulnerable. Vulnerability is not a state of weakness. When you are vulnerable, you are open about what you feel. You are open about how things are going in your life. Remember this thing, that when you talk, when you express, that is the moment you bind. That is the moment you come one step closer to people near you and to him. If I am silent, if I don't express myself, if I don't put myself out there, then how anybody will come to know that what is going in my system, what is happening over here. So being vulnerable is, there is nothing bad into it. The moment, when we say that don't be vulnerable, don't show your weaknesses or limitations to people, they'll harm you, that is for sure. To a certain percentage that really happens, and that's what has been talked about here as well. When you lower down your guard, share and open up your failures, feelings, frustrations and fears to others, sure, it can be risky and you may get rejection, but exceptions are always there. Yes, exceptions are always there. There are people who will understand your weaknesses, who will sympathize and empathize with you, who will acknowledge and appreciate that you have got the guts in you to express, to be open, to be vocal about what is going with you, and they will try to help you. So you have to speak up to him, oh my master, these are the problems going on with me, or to his people. There are confessions which are made in church, not I would say every Sunday, but there are certain ceremonies where you go confess to God, to his people. And like I mentioned in one of the videos also, there are groups, social groups in Western societies where people sit together and these confessions takes place, where they open up about each other's life, what the mistakes and crimes and sins they have done, or the mistakes which they have up till now made in their life. So you have to be vocal, you have to be vulnerable, you have to put yourself out there. Then only he can help, and then only his people can help you. So you get the grace and blessings of God and his people when you talk about your problems. Okay, you cannot bury and suppress your emotions, your feelings. That suppression and repression will come and blow out one day. So it's better to express than to repress. Okay, there is this beautiful line I would like to share. At some point in our life, we must decide whether we want to impress people or influence people. Now, impression is created by all pretend, fake attitude, but influence can only be done by being genuine, by being authentic. Now, the choice is again yours, whether you want to impress people and him, or whether you want to influence people, or whether you want to create a small space in heart of God. You even can influence him with your own good deeds, with your honesty, with your genuineness. Okay, I think we have covered all for the day. That is, first of all, admit your weaknesses. Making mistakes is not a crime, not a sin. Admit it, okay? Then be content with it, because that is going to keep you less arrogant in life. This human body, it is prone to vanity and fake arrogance. The moment you accept your weakness, you come out of this state of denial. God really empowers you, right? And third, that is, be vulnerable, talk about it, share your problems, your weaknesses with other people, and then that is how you can actually come out of the weaknesses. You can get the grace and blessings of God in your life. With that, we have come to the thought of the day. Pretentiousness repels, but authenticity attracts, and vulnerability is the pathway to intimacy. Let him take the chance, let him take the opportunity to work in you. Be the child the mother care about. Don't be the child the mother is ignorant to. So the intimacy to God can only happen when we don't pretend we are vulnerable. On that note, keep believing, keep having faith, always try to be happy in life, do good anyway, be happy anyway.